All right. Team USA took down Puerto Rico today in a game that didn't mean quite so much for Puerto Rico. At this point, they were pretty much eliminated, barring something crazy happening in this matchup against Team USA. But it did mean something for the US, and it meant clinching the number one seed in the tournament, which is a big deal because that keeps them from playing Germany or Canada, I believe, earlier on in the tournament than they would like, and prevents that rematch with Germany from happening at least until the final, which is where you would like to see it as a fan and also for Team USA. So, starting lineups, they started Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, LeBron, and Embiid. No Drew Holiday today. He turned his ankle in the last game, and they kept him out more as a precautionary issue than it was anything too serious, is what the reporting was. We're going to have to take them at their word. We won't know, though, until Tuesday. I felt like, well, number one, before I get started, I guess, in the specifics of the game, didn't get to see the first 5 minutes because of broadcast. I know the gymnastics were on. I just feel like throughout the Olympics, there's been other games where we've cut out, like middle of a quarter to commercial and missed like a minute segment. I don't know if that's how it's typically in the Olympics. I haven't been covering them in the past. This is my first one trying to cover the games. So I don't know if that's normal or not, but it's a little frustrating trying to watch full games. So with that being said, Puerto Rico got out to a really hot start and they were hitting a lot of threes. And it was 25-17, basically with about 2 minutes left in the first quarter. And Alvarado started out really well. He had 9 points and 2 assists early. And then there was a number of other players on Puerto Rico who were hitting threes. And Team USA looked a little bit flat even when they went to their second unit, which is usually the unit that brings energy for them throughout the exhibition and these early Olympic games, they still didn't really pick up in terms of energy. And they didn't really get a flow going until I would really say the start of the second quarter. So they finished the first quarter down 30-25, and they were just leaving way too many guys open, way too many three-point shooters open for Puerto Rico. And that just came down to a lack of intensity and focus as far as I was concerned. They did get a point back because they took one of those three-pointers for Puerto Rico and changed it into a two. So it was 29-25 at the start of the second quarter. And to me, that's where this game really kind of started to get away from Puerto Rico. Anthony Edwards looked really good, but it was a key set of plays from Bam Adebayo and then a Derek White steal, and then an offensive rebound actually by Anthony Edwards that led to a 6-0 run and went from 29-25 Puerto Rico to 31-29. And while Puerto Rico did stay in the game for a few minutes after that, they were never able to take the lead again, and the lead grew and grew as the game went on until really the fourth quarter when the game was in hand for Team USA. I thought LeBron did a great job passing in that second quarter, setting up his teammates. He went to halftime with 6 assists. But the story of this game is Anthony Edwards. Each game it's been someone different, I would say, overall. Anthony Edwards was great today. He had 26 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. He had that really nice steal towards the end of the game where he got into the passing lane and then was able to get the dunk at the end of the game. It's a nice punctuation mark for the end of group play for Team USA. And just a couple of other, notes from this game. I feel like, it was nice to see Kevin Durant continue to stay in rhythm. Yeah, he didn't hit all of his shots like he has been the first couple of games, but I still felt like he played really well. LeBron played pretty well as well. And I feel like the issue, though, so far with Team USA has been not being able to get Joel Embiid in rhythm. And that continued today, where he had 15 points, but he shot 14 times, the second most on the team besides Anthony Edwards, who is extremely efficient. Embiid was not. And one thing I've noticed in these games is he has not, as far as I remember, it could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please let me know, guys. I don't remember him dunking one time, not one time in these. I guess he's played in 7 of these 8 games now. And I know in that his last series in the playoffs against the Knicks, that first round series, he dunks it. He had that really awesome play, which then turned into an immediate injury scare where he throws it off the backboard and then dunks it, right? And then he hurts himself. And then I almost feel like since that play, I've not seen him dunk the ball once. And to me, for a guy who's as physically dominant as he is, to be reduced to a mid-range three-point shooter is really a red flag as far as his potential impact is going to be as these games move forward. And as this tournament moves on, I think Brazil is going to be a good matchup for Team USA. But after that, each of the last 2 games are going to be against high-powered opponents, and you're going to need everyone to be firing on all cylinders. Despite the amount of talent that Team USA has, each of these teams, when you're talking about Germany, a Canada, a Serbia, all of those teams, depending on the night and who's hitting shots, could beat Team USA. It would not be a shock to me to see that happen. So they're going to need to figure out something with Joel Embiid. I'm not sure what the answer is at this point. I feel like at this point the answer is he doesn't have it, and they're going to have to play him maybe a little bit more limited minutes than maybe the idea was going into this tournament. And the other side is Steph Curry, who I keep waiting for him to kind of have a breakout game, and it hasn't happened yet. Today he had 8 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. He shot 3 of 8 from the field and 2 of 6 from behind the line. And Iron Eagle was making a joke on the broadcast that maybe it's too close for Steph Curry, but I mean, I don't know what it is. He can't quite get a rhythm. They were talking about maybe he doesn't get the same quantity of touches, which is certainly true. That's true for everybody. So he can't quite get his rhythm. Steve Kerr was mentioning the fact that there's plenty of NBA games where he'll start out, like 1 for 9, like he shot in the last game, and then have a great second half, which is true. We've seen that time and time again. But at some point, we're going to need a big Steph Curry game in these Olympics. And I'm hoping that he's saving his best for last because we haven't seen it yet. And I feel like it's coming, but each game that doesn't happen, my concern kind of grows because defensively, he's not giving us a lot. So it's got to be that's a nice way of saying he's been a little bit problematic on the defensive end of the court. But offensively, we're going to need a big game from him at some point. And maybe against Brazil, he can start to build a rhythm. It's not a tune-up game, but in comparison to the other teams that Team USA is going to play, I expect them to beat Brazil. It is not nearly the level of competition that they will face in the semifinal and then ultimately the final if they are to get there. Some other players for Team USA that I want to focus on, Jason Tatum, I thought had his best game quietly of these, even the exhibition games and these 3 Olympic games. He had a double-double today, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Couldn't hit a 3. Still feel like he's not quite in rhythm. A lot of his points were in the paint. Still can't hit. His shot just isn't quite right. And I don't think that's going to be figured out, unfortunately, in these last, hopefully, 3 games that Team USA will have. But it is a good sign that he played better than he has been before. LeBron, he didn't play much in the fourth quarter, but finished with 10 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. Thought he played pretty well in this one, and just kind of, I don't want to say coasted, but it kind of did feel like he coasted. There was never a time where his intensity seemed to pick up like it has in other games, whether that be South Sudan or Serbia. Devin Booker, stats-wise, nothing crazy today. Maybe his worst game just because shooting-wise wasn't the best. 3 of 9 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. Did hit all of his free throws, 3 of 3. 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Still felt like he played pretty well. And Devin Booker, to me, like as far as I'm concerned, he's grown on my list of like favorite players in the NBA. And once the NBA season starts, I'm going to make it a point to watch more Suns games because I've been really impressed by his overall game in the Olympics. And it's something I've talked about after other games where his impact just goes beyond the box score, and he just does a really good job of fitting in and figuring out what does the team need from him in order to win on that given day. So I just feel like he's been great in the starting lineup, and I think he will continue to be there no matter who is playing or not, who's available or not available moving forward in this tournament. I think he's earned a starting spot. One thing about Embiid I didn't mention earlier, he did end up with 2 blocks today, so he did have a defensive impact in this one, but he also had 3 turnovers. He just the ball, the flow, that's the word I'm looking for. The flow for Team USA certainly slows down when Embiid's on the court. And if he's going to be an efficient, post scorer, it makes sense. But he hasn't shown that yet. And Team USA certainly is at their best when they're able to run and get in transition. And we've seen that with Anthony Edwards. We've seen that with transition threes from Kevin Durant. And that's just when they're at their best. So, and even LeBron, right? He's best getting in transition. So if Embiid's kind of taking that away from them, they've got to figure out. I think he's got to just play less minutes, quite frankly. And so I think Steve Kerr's certainly seen that, and I've given him credit for that. And I think that is going to be a pattern we'll see. If Embiid's not effective, he's going to play less, and that's just how it is for everybody. If you're not playing really well, you're not going to play quite as much. Last couple of guys didn't touch on. Bam Adebayo, thought he played pretty well today. Didn't score much, 3 points, but he did have 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. And Anthony Davis, those 2 big guys are like the big Bash brothers for Team USA coming off the bench playing together. Davis had 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, 2 blocks in this one. Derek White, Halliburton didn't really play significant minutes. So Derek White's the only other rotation player as far as I'm concerned, and he had 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. So he did a good job of just, doing Derek White in previous games. Part of that, I think, tends to play better in the games that are a little bit tighter, the scores a little bit closer. And in this game, it wasn't quite as needed from him. So, like I mentioned earlier, Team USA is going to play Brazil in the quarterfinal matchup. As if I have that right, trying to get some information on the brackets is a little bit difficult to find, but that is my best guess as of right now. And that game will be Tuesday. And from what I saw from one website, Team USA was slotted in to play at 8:30 Eastern. So if you're on the West Coast, be prepared to get up early on Tuesday. But that's only in pencil. I'm not 100% certain about that time. So once I know exactly when they're playing, I will try to give you guys an announcement either on YouTube or on my TikTok, which is Jack Banks NBA. If you guys are still here and watching, please give this video a like. It helps grow the channel, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting everything from Team USA to Duke basketball to the Knicks and the NBA draft. So be sure to stay tuned to the channel. And if you can, tell a friend to subscribe. It's really helpful trying to grow as much as we can so we can do this full time. So, yeah, looking ahead to the matchup against Brazil, not a lot of NBA talent on Brazil. Bruno Caboclo, the guy who is 2 years away from being 2 years away, who didn't end up panning out. He's on the team. Marcelo Huertas is on the team. Gui Santos, I believe, is on the team. But listen, that's a game that Team USA should win handily. And it is one, that they've earned, right? That's why it's so important to win these early games by as much as you can, because point differential is so important. So Tuesday, we'll be back to recap that one after the game wraps up. And then hopefully, all things going well, we'll be looking forward to a big quarterfinal matchup against one of the big clubs or big teams, big countries rather, in this tournament, which should be a lot of fun as Team USA looks to climb for the gold medal. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.